So where is Princess Kate? The internet is full of speculation about her whereabouts after not appearing publicly since Christmas last month. Kensington Palace announced she underwent a planned abdominal surgery, and yesterday a spokesperson for the princess doubled down on its decision to only provide significant updates. And of course, that fueled more rumors. Prince William pulled out of attending a royal funeral service because of, quote, personal matters. Following all this is CBS News royal contributor Amanda Foreman. Amanda, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So there are a lot of people in my feed on text message that are just obsessed with this. And I wonder, like, look, does the palace understand that we're not living in the age of even Queen Elizabeth? This is the internet age. And when you don't, when you're not transparent about what's going on, the internet's going to internet.
Speculation is so much louder.
100%. So the question in the prompter is what's driving this level of conspiracy? What's driving it is because the palace hasn't been forthcoming.
Well, yes and no. What happened was a kind of a version of, you might call it swatting, that a Spanish journalist swatted the royal family by making the most incredible and outrageous claim that Kate is in a coma. And so that was like DEFCON 5. The entire world suddenly became interested in this story. So it is an unusual set of circumstances that are going on. 2 deaths, 2 royals who are unwell, and that kind of thing. So you have to kind of give it context as well.
So do we actually know how Princess Kate's surgery went and what's going on here?
Okay, so there have been no official updates of any kind other than the usual bland, she's doing well and that kind of thing. And the kinds of abdominal surgeries that take place, for example, a complete hysterectomy, are incredibly wearing on an individual. And there are often highs and lows. There are often some complications afterwards. And that's just the way it is. And there's and those kinds of complications and those kinds of illnesses, people don't want to talk about in the first place. So that's the problem here, this push-pull.
So I've just been sort of perusing the British tabloids on the internet, the Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, and I don't see a lot of articles about Princess Kate Middleton. And I can only imagine if it was like Oprah Winfrey or Beyonce, that the Daily Mail would have front page coverage, for days and days and days. So is there also in Britain a sense that because this is a private matter for the royal family, that the press, which is normally very rabid around celebrity, is keeping sort of a kid's glove approach to all this?
Right. If you want to have access, then you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you.
Good point.
Right. So, that's why the British press is going to be, at this level, when it is really DEFCON 5, somewhat more reticent than they would be at other times.
So that's the perspective of the British press, potentially. But what about the people in Great Britain? I mean, I know in the U.S., at least, there's been an increasing distaste for some of the royals.
How a good way to say it.
Got to keep it safe.
Yeah.
How is that going, though, now, in light of all of this in Great Britain?
Well, there's ups and downs, as always. At this stage right now, I think there's a great deal of to be honest, sympathy for the royal family. It's a tsunami of disasters that's going on now. And
let me ask you just about the king. How is he doing? I mean, we've seen him in public a bit since the diagnosis of cancer a few weeks ago, I guess. But have you heard anything from the palace about the king's royal duties in the upcoming weeks and months?
So as his treatment ramps up, you will see much less of him. He was recently seen and looking fairly chipper. But, with this kind of treatment, because it's progressive, it means that, he will get tireder and he'll get more vulnerable, and then you won't see him at all. And hopefully what the plan is what the palace is hoping is that as he retreats, Kate will get better and be able to resume her duties. She's off, as they say in England, she's off games, she's off sports, and until after Easter, which makes a great deal of sense. And then she will reappear. And the palace is trying to stick to a line. Well, we told you what was going to happen. now it's happening, and then afterwards we'll restate what happened. The problem is, as we all know, that it's afterwards that the public hears through books or interviews by people close to the royal family what really went on. So, for example, when the Queen had her quote-unquote mobility issues, then we learned from Giles Brandreth, a very good friend of the late Queen's, that actually she had bone marrow cancer. So, this is the problem: is the before and the after.
Yeah, and I guess, Amanda, I'm just, you mentioned the princess will probably not be seen until after Easter, but I'm trying to remember if in the years past we would see the royal family. Easter seems to be the next sort of big event on the social calendar. Will we only see the Prince of Wales and that's it? Because we know, obviously, that Kate is bedridden. The king is probably undergoing the procedures for his cancer. Not sure what the Queen is up to. Not sure what the younger princes, Prince Edward and Princess Anne, are doing. So, I mean, what would we see around Easter?
Oh, no, you will see a lot of them. I mean, they're all patrons of dozens, if not some of them hundreds of charities, Princess Anne in particular. So they will be doing their normal things. And you've got the Queen who actually is very busy. So, for example, she was the one who stood in at the funeral for the late King Constantine of Greece, and so she can stand in for the monarch, and she will. And yes, you have Edward and you have Sophie, you have Princess Anne, actually Eugenie and Beatrice are also stepping in more. So there are other royals who can do what's needed to do, and there are some significant religious festivals, religious ceremonies and services that they normally attend, and they will. So it's not like there's no royal family hanging around.
All right, Amanda Foreman, thank you so much for that insight.